Well, good morning, fifth graders. We are starting, what is this? This is 12-7. 12-7. And what page is this? This is page 514. Page 514. We're talking about converting time. Time, something you can give away, but you can never get back. And you guys have seen my wrist watch that I wear occasionally. I don't know if any of you ever wear one. I think I've seen one or two of the boys with a wristwatch. Probably more boys wear those than girls. What do you think is the most expensive wristwatch that was ever sold? Take a look at that one. Now, pause this video before you go any further and look at it and think how much that is worth. In fact, maybe, or you could just go ahead and play it for the next 30 seconds and find out. But pause it and maybe go ask your parents and show them this picture and say, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, hey, Grandma, Grandpa, how much do you think that wristwatch right there was sold for? Well, what do you think? I'll tell you this, that it was sold in an auction in Geneva. I think it was last year, 2019. And it was for a charity. And it's a Petit Philippe, I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyways, it sold for $31 million. $31 million. Not $3,100, not $310,000, $31 million. Can you imagine that? A wristwatch for selling for $31 million. I think probably the most expensive one I've ever bought in my life was, I don't know, maybe $30. So it's a little bit out of my league. Anyways, here we go. So we're converting time. It says Kendall's family is driving to a theater to see a 2-hour movie. Kendall notices a sign at the parking lot closest to the theater. Do you think they should park there? Well, it says 90-minute parking. Well, 90 minutes, how many hours is that? It's a 2-hour movie. Is that going to be enough time? Well, you guys know that 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 minute is 60 seconds. And I think most of you could just say right away, no, it's not going to work. That's an hour and a half. And down at the bottom here, please convince me. It says, explain how to convert 4 hours and 15 minutes to just minutes. Okay? Well, the 15 minutes is done for us. That's already converted to minutes. But how would we convert 4 hours to minutes? How many minutes are in an hour? 60. All right? So if 1 hour is 60 minutes, 4 hours would be how many minutes? It's 60 times 4, 240 minutes. Plus what? 15. Okay? What do we end up with here? 255 minutes. All right, let's take a look at the next page. It's the guided practice page here. I'm going to close this. Did I start the... Oh, hold on here. There it is. Okay. So let's see here. And they give us another example. He says there's often more than one way to show converted units of time. Find the missing numbers. 210 seconds equals how many minutes and how many seconds? Well, remember, there's 60 seconds in a minute, and there's 60 minutes in an hour, so 210 seconds. Well, you're going to have to divide, and they show you that. Divide 210 by 60, okay? And it goes in 3 times with a remainder of 30. A remainder of 30. So what's remaining? 30 seconds. So it's 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And let's see, 210 seconds equals how many minutes? Divide write the quotient as a mixed number. So 210 divided by 60. Or you could write it this way, 210 divided by 60. Okay, same thing. Remember, what's on top is being divided by what's on the bottom. Equals 3 minutes and 30 over 60. They're just giving you another example of what we just did over here. 30 over 60. What is 30 over 60? 30 over 60. Okay, it's a fraction. So how many times does 30 go into 30? Goes in one time. How many times does 30 go into 60? Goes in twice. It's 1/2. All right? That's why we said, or why I said 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes, 30 seconds. 30 seconds is half of a minute. So 3.5 minutes. Okay. Down below, do you understand? This is, which is the longer time? 5 minutes, 25 seconds, or 315 seconds? Well, explain. Okay. So first you have to convert. So 5 minutes. Okay. So that's going to be what? 60 times what? 5. All right. What's 6 times 5? That's 30. Add a 0. So that's 300 seconds. And it says 5 minutes and 25 seconds, so we're going to add 25. 325 seconds. Okay, or 315 seconds. Well, which is longer? Well, the 5 minutes is longer. 5 minutes and 25 seconds is longer. Explain. Because they don't give you much room to write here. I always complain about that. That is, what did I say over here? 325 seconds. 325 seconds. Which is greater than, what do they ask us? 315 seconds. Okay. How many minutes are in a quarter of an hour, and how do you know? Oh, a quarter of an hour? Well, what's a quarter of 60? What's a quarter of 60? Well, there's a couple ways to look at it. What's 60 divided by 4? Because something that's divided into equal fourths, that's a quarter. Here's a fraction, 1/4, that's a fourth. So 4 quarters. 4 quarters equals a whole. How many times does 4 go into 60? It goes in 15 times. So how many minutes are in a quarter of an hour? It's 15 minutes. Now, how would I know that? Well, there's a couple ways you could do it. You could divide 60 by 4 and you'll end up with getting 15. You could also multiply 60 times a quarter. Okay? How would you do that? Well, you would put 60 over 1 times 1/4. Get this out of the way here. And then you kind of end up doing the same thing as 60 divided by 4. It's kind of the long way around the barn. 1 times 60 is 60. 1 times 4 is 4. So it's the same thing. We're just end up in this position here, 60 divided by 4. How many times does 4 go into 6? Goes in once. What's left over? 2. Bring down the 2. Add a 0. 4 goes into 20 5 times. There's nothing left over. There's 15. Okay. Number 3, 240 seconds is how many minutes? Well, divide 240. Divide that by 60. Another easier way might be to just start adding 60. What's 60 and 60? What's that equal? That's 120. Oh, that kind of looks like a really compatible combination there. Do you see that? 120, that's half of 240. What's 120 plus 120? If I added those together, what do I get? 0, 4, 2, 240. 4 minutes even. How about number 6? 80 minutes equals, well, how many minutes are in an hour? 60. So 60 goes into 80 once. What's left over? 20 minutes. This is really going to be a quick and easy, I think, lesson for you guys. Yeah, I think you guys knew all these. So 390 seconds. I'm looking at number 8 here, if you're wondering. 390. Okay. How many times does 60 go into that? Well, let's use something we already did. Okay. Which is 240 right here. All right. How many times did 60 go into 240? I'm going to put 240 right here. That went 4 times. I'll just put that 4 there to remind me. So let me add another 60. What do we get here? 0, 0, 1. Okay, there's 300. So I'll add 1. And let me add another 60. So that's 360. So I'm adding another 1 and keeping track here. And we want to figure out how many minutes is 390 seconds? Well, we're at 360. So another 30 seconds would do it. But so how many minutes is it? That's 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 minutes. 6, and there's 30 more seconds that we needed to get to 390, and 30 seconds is half of 60, so it's 6.5 minutes. Okay. All right. Last page. Yeah, you guys could do these. They don't look that hard. How about number 15? Leslie is making these 2 recipes, which takes longer to make? The strawberry bread or the spaghetti sauce? How many minutes longer? Okay, so here's the spaghetti sauce. Looks like it's 1.5 hours. So I'm going to put SS equals 1 1/2 hours. Strawberry bread. Oh, I kind of blocked out what I could see here. Preparation time is 20 minutes. Oh, yeah, I totally missed that. Strawberry spaghetti sauce. We'll go back to that. 1.5 hours, and I can barely read that. Looks like it's a 10-minute preparation time. So it's an hour, and let's see, 30 minutes is half of 60 at an hour and 40 minutes. Okay. Now let's go back to the strawberry bread. Okay. That prep time is 20 minutes and a baking time of 55 minutes. And an eating time of, oh no, they're not having an eating time there. 55 minutes. So that's going to be strawberry bread. I'll put SB equals 1 hour. And what's 55 plus 20? That's going to be 15 minutes. Okay. So which takes longer? Well, it looks like this spaghetti sauce. And the question is how much longer? So 30, so spaghetti sauce takes longer. How much longer? We're going to subtract the hour and 15 from an hour 40, and it's what, 25 minutes longer. Okay. Let's see here. The school day is 6 hours and 15 minutes long. Janice says, not anymore. Janice says that it's 6.25 hours. Henry says it's 6.25 hours. Can they both be correct? Okay. Well, here's what you need to think about is 6 hours and 15 minutes and 6.25 hours and 6.25 hours. Are these three the same? Okay. And the answer to this is yes. Because in decimal form, what's a quarter? What's 25 cents? Well, it's 25 pennies, but how many of those go into $1? Okay, now this is time we're talking about, but when we're talking about decimals, a quarter is 1/4 of $1. So 0.25 of an hour is a quarter of an hour, which is the same as that, because that says 6.25. All right. Now this is more specific, this one here. It says 6 hours and 15 minutes. And the question is 15 minutes a quarter of an hour? Well, we actually talked about this just a few minutes ago. 15 goes into 60 4 times. So 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour. So all three of those are the same. And you can explain that however you want, but the answer is yes. All right, you could probably say it a lot shorter than I did. But they're all the same. All three of those represent the same amount of time. They look pretty different though, but they're the same. Okay, how many seconds are there in 1 hour? I'm looking at number 17 now. How many seconds in an hour? Oh, how would we do that? Well, so there's 60 seconds in a minute and 60 of those minutes in an hour. So what would that be? It's going to be 60 times 60. And whatever that equals. How many seconds are there in 1 hour? How about in 10 hours? How would you figure that? Well, whatever number you get here, let's make it easy on ourselves. Whatever you get right there, then you're going to take that number. I'm just going to call it, for grins, let's just call it x, whatever x is. Okay, so you solve, you get x. Okay, then you're just going to multiply x. Okay, you're going to multiply that by 10. Remember, if you have parentheses and it's next to a number, that means they're multiplied together. So if I was to write, let's say 5, and then I had a number 2 here, that's the same thing as 5 times 2. All right. So whatever that number is, x times 10. And that would answer in 10 hours. All right. I think that's it. There's a little bit, there's a little bit more at the bottom of the page here. Did I get that? Yeah, you guys can do that. Okay, that's it for this video. And I will see you guys, what time is it here? Yeah, in about an hour. All right,